Despite what their moms told them, they just aren't talented enough for radio. Unfortunately, anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes. In fact, I can't even figure myself out sometimes, so don't you try to.
Joe.
You're an idiot and really a disloyal person.
This is the Cuse Militia. Now, those two unapologetically biased orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
Welcome, orange men and ladies. Happy Wednesday. This is the Cuse Militia with Sean and Joe at Cuse Militia on the socials. Go there, join the militia live on X Spaces, sometimes, maybe, always, kinda. The Orange grind out a 84-71 win over Virginia Tech after a slight lapse in second half defense, if you ask me. You'll hear from us, and we'll hear from you in fan feedback. I mean, all in all, look, Syracuse did what the coach says. You know, this is probably their most put together game of two halves. I would have to agree overall with that. Absolutely. Right, Joe? I mean, look, they won pretty much. First of all, both teams, I mean, not that Virginia Tech had many opportunities, but 12 for 12 from the line for Syracuse. 18 points off of turnovers. We won the rebound battle. Points in the paint, 54-50. I mean, the game was played in the paint for the most part, and 11 fast break points for Syracuse. You win all the major categories like that. Field goal percentage, 57% to 49. I mean, pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. They only hit 4 threes, and if I remember right now they are, you know, I think it was, what did I say, 1 in 5 or 1 in 4 when they hit 4 or less threes in the win column. So, yeah, you know, kind of trying to even out that a little bit. And they're on a 3-game win streak, albeit 2 of those games at home, but going on the road for the last 2. Clemson's going to be tough, but a Louisville team that we did beat already at home. And, you know, a good opportunity, I think, to if you can win this next game, you get your 20 wins. And that used to be a number we shot for. Whether it means anything or not these days, Joe, it doesn't really matter because it means something to us, right? I mean, 20 wins is a good number to hit. And they're already at more wins now than they were since the 18-19 season. And, right. You know, we are in paid Judah Mintz. Like, if NIL could do anything positive for Syracuse, it's to keep Judah Mintz here. I feel like that would be a very good idea to go ahead and pay Judah some NIL money to make it worth his while, to get another year under his belt and not settle on G League or European ball. You know what I'm saying? Because before that money's there and you could go there and make that money instantly and try to work your way up. But I feel like today in the NIL age and where it's at with the collectives and what we've got with Orange United, I mean, I just feel like if there's not a discussion being had about that amongst the people that divvy this stuff out, then you're crazy, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I truly believe that if he knew that he was going to the NBA, then he probably would have walked last night, right? I mean, Hema walked. He was the only one. Yeah. He spoke after the game, you know, and when he was talking, he was sitting there saying, you know, we had to go out there and his last game at home, and, you know, win for the fans, win for the players. You know, a couple guys, this is going to be their last time on, in the Dome. You know, it didn't make it sound like he was talking about himself, but obviously he's not going to, you know, just tell all right then and there. So he was very strategic about his answers. Right. But I think that, honestly, I mean, it's not just Mintz at this point.
It's not. Right? It's not. But I'm just saying, he 29 points
because
last
the way
night,
the Syracuse fans
amazing.
Go and everything, I mean, I'm sure that there's a really good team out there that would love to have, you know, a 40% three-point shooter just come off the bench and hit threes like a Chris Bell. Yeah. I think that you look at a Quadir Copeland and a Malik Brown being only sophomores and seeing their jump from freshmen to sophomores. I mean, I think those two guys are guys that any big name team would want to come in and take as well. So, you know, it's not just Judah. You know, and as far as the game goes, you know, it was just a clean game. There's a lot of assists, with 18 assists. I was surprised that they out-rebounded Virginia Tech. They had 7 turnovers. You know, you spoke to just four 4 threes. 4 threes isn't bad if you're only shooting 13 of them, right? I mean, it kind of just depends on how many you shoot. Now, if it was 4 or 25, like Georgia Tech, then that's a different story. I mean, I think that we shot 57% from twos. So, I mean, that's
there was
really
104
what it was.
points scored in the paint last night. That's where the game was had. And I mean, Syracuse was having a field day with it.
Yeah.
Both teams did a good job. Gio warned us about Kidd, and his play speaks for itself. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Go on.
And I think our guards really, we spoke to Gio about the matchups of the guards, and if they had, the guards to be able to stop a Judemus and J.J. Starling, if they're having a good day, and I think we got our answer. I don't think I think Padula struggled to guard some of those guys. I think Couture, he played tough. Probably would like to make a couple more threes. But I mean, other than that, yeah. I mean, I liked the difference. I mean, it almost looked like we knew what we were doing. You can tell as the season goes on that they're getting better at figuring out how to play offense with each other. And now you actually see, Coach spoke of it, but like you actually see Malik Brown being a big part of that offense now. So, and Kyle Cuff coming in and really giving some good minutes. So, overall, good game. I was happy with the outcome. And for a second there, it looked like in the second half it was going to turn into the last couple games, but. Coach called the timely timeout. They came out and
they changed. It was totally different after that timeout.
And,
way more energetic.
They took control of the game.
Yeah,
and ended up winning by 13. So I'm happy.
Yeah, Cuff with the 3. Thought that was great. Not for a guy we haven't seen a lot of. There was 2 weeks where we didn't see him at all. On the floor, and for him to coach says he's one of those guys that just. He's mentioned specifically by name Judah, Kyle, and Justin by name as guys who just they don't give up, they don't get down, they come back strong, and they have no quit. And I'm sure there's other names he can add to that list. I mean, we've watched this team, we've watched them look pretty bad, we've watched them look really good, but all in all, you've got you got a bunch of guys on this team that all fit that mold. I mean, the team's going to win.
Team's gonna win. That's where you get the inconsistency, too. Exactly. The fact that they're still sophomores. They're still trying to kind of manage those emotions because we got a lot of emotional players, too, that if they're not getting a call or something's not going their way, sometimes they can get in their head, and then, bad offenses led to bad defense and lulls in play. And I think, again, that's another thing that I think we're seeing as the season goes on, is them obviously getting better, but them actually all, maturing. I think that Judah's matured a lot. I think that he doesn't, chirp it as much, and he kind of keeps his emotions straight, and
he hasn't slapped anybody this year, so that's...
it's a step in the right direction, right? So, I mean, I'm just saying, there was questions about leadership. That's one question, but as far as maturity and handling their emotions, it's something they're getting better at as well. Just next play, on to the next play.
Yeah, I think that if it's my team or the opposing team's players lobbying the refs when they feel like they're trying to make a case for themselves, I think that's the coach's job. I'm seeing a lot of that this year, just across the board. Just a lot. I mean, it seems like it's a little bit much this year, and I don't like it when my team does it. I don't like when anybody else's team does it. I don't feel like you should be able to lobby the refs like that throughout the game. And by the way, you're doing it when you're supposed to be getting back on defense. That's just a poor decision. You know what I'm saying? So
I agree. And you know what though? In the past, the refs have done a better job at
stopping that.
But
yeah.
Call tees.
Yeah. Hey, look, man. Go play.
I'm not handling this.
They engage
them. Used to be. Well, I mean, there used to be a day, and it probably happens, but I don't know how disciplined it is now. But the referees go to the locker room and they have a conversation with the team about, this is kind of how we do, and this is what we're not going to put up with, and and have a good game. And so you go into those games most of the time with already having a conversation with those refs, kind of knowing what to expect from them and what they're going to call and not call. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So. And as far as that's definitely been something that's been taken care of. You could easily go in the locker room and say, look, I don't want to hear it. If the coach wants to talk to me about a call, that's one thing. I don't want to hear it from the kid. If I hear it from you, then you're going to get teed up, and that would stop it. Maybe not initially, but if they hold up to their bargain and they tee these kids up, then they're not going to do it, right?
Do you think $1 million fine for court storming is a bit much, or are you okay with that? Boy, that escalated quickly. Holy cow!
Straight to $1 million, huh? I mean, I know that some standing or some conferences have already have fines, but $1 million?
$1 million though? That's a bit ridiculous. I mean, that was Seth Greenberg, but I'm just saying, that was his fix to it all. But
is that the fix to control all the fans and all the students? Right? It's going to cost $1 million throughout the season to get security to stop it.
No kidding. I like what Gio said. In the preview about how Virginia Tech handles it, and you go back and watch the old field storming from the Clemson game, and having to get down on that wall. It's kind of what Gio's talking about. With the wall that they got there. There's a way to do it. I'm not even sure why I went down this road, but there's a way to do it without fining people $1 million. And I don't know if it was the conference. I just called the tail end of it, but it was either the conference or the team. I think it might have been the conference. But anyway, with that said, quick conversation about the net. So Syracuse moves up 3 spots in the net from 85 to 82. It's a quad 2 win, right? So 2-7 in quad 1, 4-1 in quad 2, 8-2 in quad 3, and 4-0 in quad 4. They've only even played 4 quad 4 games, which is looks like to me this looks like a solid resume. Okay, yeah. But to your point, Joe, Brad Brownell's chirping. Scott Van Pelt addressed it. Noon's Magician has a tweet about it. Joe sent it to me, so I don't know if you reposted that from our sites, Joe, but probably not, because Joe doesn't know how to do that. Joe can barely text, by the way. Joe and I just had an argument before we came on here about how do you not know how to text, and that was me asking Joe because he doesn't know how to text. I mean, and it's okay, I guess, but it's the simple things, Joe. I mean, it's not that hard. Like, texting is pretty basic. I mean, my kids have been doing it since they were 10. So anyways, Joe, I digress. Back to the net stuff. No, but you were doing it when they were 10. So, I mean, come on. So anyway, Scott Van Pelt, he had he gave his opinion, but basically said that he was kind of taking a jab at the ACC or maybe Brownell and to some extent about how people manipulate the net by scheduling these non-conference games against maybe a cushier teams in better conferences and all this stuff, right? Because, if you get that under your belt and then he didn't address the where you start thing, but the where you start thing absolutely has something to do with it. And yeah. I don't want to beat a dead horse with this, but I mean, it's just ironic because we've talked about it so much, and now he brings up the point that you were bringing up about how you can kind of manipulate the system through scheduling these kind of cushy teams in better conference, or what they consider to be great conferences, who aren't going to move down too much in the net because they're all playing one another while you're going in. When you go to play conference games, mm-hmm. You could almost equal it out and be really competitive with that. But if everybody starts doing that, there's still a number system. You're not going to be tied. So, I mean, there's got to be a better way to do it. But to his point, Joe, I mean, what should Syracuse do next year? Like Noon says, time to schedule Lemoyne, Marist, Siena, Binghamton, Buffalo, Canisius, Iona, Manhattan. Yeah. So, I mean, you pad your schedule with some BS or what? I mean, it was always the opposite. And you know what I'm saying? It was always the opposite when you go off of RPI and all these other things. And now it's just play cush teams. Play cush teams and move up as quick as you can before conference play starts.
Yep. Pretty much, yeah. I mean, that's the one thing is that I don't remember where we started in that to begin with, and I wish we wrote it down.
It was in the 90s, though. Or no, it was 100 and something.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it was.
It was.
Like that, right? Yeah. But, I mean, realistically, when you look at the last, 4 games, I mean, we're on a 3-game winning streak.
We're on a 3-game winning streak. Yes.
So 5 games. Last 5 games, we're 4-1. Beat North Carolina.
Right. But yeah, we're 4-1. The loss against Georgia Tech.
Lost against Georgia Tech, but we beat North Carolina, which is a quad 1 game. We beat NC State at NC State, which is a quad 1 game for about 2 hours.
2 seconds, yeah. For the final buzzer.
But on the road. We only moved up. In Virginia Tech's ranked higher than us. Realistically, 3 out of these 4 wins were actually pretty good wins, and we moved from 91 because we were 91 before we played North Carolina. We moved from 91 to 82, so we moved up 9 spots in a 5-game stretch where we were 4-1 and we've beaten some pretty good schools.
Yeah, and Virginia Tech in the loss last night moved down 4 spots. We went up 3, they moved down 4. They went from 56 to 60.
Yeah, I think that there's obviously going to be something, hopefully, with this getting all the attention that it's getting, and the committee actually puts this into perspective as well, because, just like I talked to you about last time, you should look at the quad 1, and I think you should look at the quad 4, right? And quad 1's going to tell you if you've had a really good win or, a great win or, whatever. And then quad 4 is going to tell you pretty much how crappy your non-conference schedule was. Because if you're in a Power 5, Power 6 conference, right? You don't have a quad 4 team in your conference, right? Usually none of those teams are that bad where they're quad 4. So if you look at the quad 4 records, that pretty much tells you like how good your non-conference was. And just going back to the Big 12 and how I told you, that they have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 teams in the top 45 in that. And if you take away Baylor and Kansas, all those teams had really, really bad non-conference schedules. They rack up the wins. They don't fall, because even if you beat somebody, you're not going to go and you're not going to fall anywhere. But then when you look at their quad 4s, Houston, they're 25-3. They're a legit team, but they went 7-0 in quad 4.
Yep.
Iowa State 9-0, BYU 9 wins, Texas 9 wins, TCU 8 wins, Oklahoma 8 wins, Texas Tech 9, Cincinnati 9. Some of these teams.
St. Mary's of California is 15th in the net. They are 11-0 in quad 4 wins.
You're talking about some of these teams. They got more than half their wins, or around half their wins, from quad 4 non-conference games.
Yeah.
And then you go into this, and then you go into your conference, and everybody's good. So it all looks like it's a really good team.
Well, here you go. Let's take a look at this real quick and head over to Twitter just super fast. So the day after Syracuse moves up 3 spots, 85 to 82, after beating number 60 Virginia Tech. This is all net numbers. Virginia moves up 4 spots, 38 to 34, after beating number 205 Georgetown. Many other examples. Just one that stands out. It's nonsense. I quit. Play the game. Watch the game. Keep winning. That's on Twitter at David Super, if I didn't give him his due. And you look at that and you're like, well, the math doesn't add up there. It's like, how? You know what I mean?
Yeah, none of it does. And that's the thing is you have. And I don't think Scott Van Pelt was like trying to poo-poo the ACC.
I don't, but he says at the end though, he's like, "Well, you want to get up there in the net ACC, do it like that."
Well, I think that's what it is. I think basically what he's saying is there's okay. This conference is looked at as like the best conference in the country. And there's a lot of people that think that because of their ranking and their net rankings and how many teams there's supposed to be making the tournament. But I just think that that's one of the things like. Why are you crying about it? If you know that this is the case, and you think that you've been wronged in the last year because of it, and that's the case, then you do it. Is basically what it is. If somebody else found a workaround in that type of situation, and you want to put yourself in the same situation as them, then use the same workaround.
Yeah, it's just like the whole. There's plenty of examples, but if you Don't try to play this game where you're above it because your morals are held to a higher standard than the next, because you got to either get down in the mud and play the game, or you're going to get smoked.
Same thing we talked about in the NIL in Syracuse, right? I mean,
that's exactly.
And that's really the thing is I guess my thing is consistency over the years, because I remember a year when we didn't make the tournament because, you know, I remember I think we won 20 or 21 games, and if you beat Georgetown in the Big East tournament, you win that game, then you're in. You should be in, and then we didn't get in because the committee came back and said that we didn't play a strong enough non-conference schedule.
That's what I'm saying. Before the net, it always came down to non-conference. How strong is your non-conference?
Right. And that was my rant, you know, a couple weeks ago about how non-conference shouldn't even really. I mean, you shouldn't have a ranking until after the non-conference.
Yeah, maybe it shouldn't
start after area. That.
Or maybe reset it. If you do start it, reset it.
I just don't think you should start it to begin with, because
from the beginning it's all just.
I mean, let's think about it. Yeah. Maybe back in the day it was a little bit easier. They got a little bit better, closer, whatever. Because if a transfer transferred, they had to sit out, right? If you know, most of the people you were getting were young freshmen, and if you had like Syracuse bringing in all these sophomores, you know, to what Brian Higgins' point, I believe, is if you look at this team in the past and you're like, oh wow, you have all these sophomores, they're all coming back, you guys are going to be awesome because all these people are going to lose seniors. Well, now the day of the transfer portal, how can anybody even come close to accurately predicting 300 and how many teams in a net? With all the movement and all the people that go from one to another, you don't know which team's going to be good. A team can be completely different from one year to the next now. It's basically free agency.
362.
So at the end of the day, what's the point? I mean, let them play their non-conference and then rank them based upon that, based upon strength. You know, what you think their strength. I mean, I guess there's got to be a baseline. But again, if you suck at that baseline, just like an estimate for a job, right? That damn baseline's wrong, then you're going to lose damn money. Like, I don't.
Either that or you're not going to get the job.
Right. So I just don't. They got to come up with something better, because, like I said, to me, this is just way too much open for interpretation, and you can find a reason basically to keep any bubble team out, put another one in, and obviously it leaves, you know, gaps for politics involved.
Well, it leaves gaps for speculation too, and two guys who just do this for fun to sit here and who have a decent reach, just sit here and go through all the scenarios, right? So anyway, David, always on top of it. That's a great point, and I don't retweet too many fan feedback comments, but that one's worth it. All right, let's continue here with Twitter a little bit. Joe, if you want to pull up Facebook, you can. At Cuse, great win. Mintz looked unstoppable. This game is just another example of why the net rankings are a crock of poo. I mean, yeah, I had a lot of faith in these net rankings too, and it's just one of those things.
Boy, did we get duped.
You know, but if you go back to those shows when this first started, I am almost positive we said, well, it's the NCAA, they'll screw it up somehow.
Right.
We had that conversation, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm sure we did.
So, but yeah, Captain Patrick, he shot me a text last night. He bought a signed Carmelo Anthony Syracuse jersey at a silent auction at a church, which is exactly where he needs to be, is at a church.
Yeah.
So anyway, at Crimson Fury 006. One win away from a 20-win season to increase our hopes of an NCAA tournament bid. Again, with the 20, I love it. I do. I don't know how much it means anymore, but it's still a good number. You know? I mean, what are you going to do? Let's see here. At TPK 2024. Mint's best game of the season, under control and dominant. Kudos to Autry for what he has done to date in his first year. I don't think Adrian Autry gets enough credit from fans that we've seen on our feed for what he has done this year. Switching up the defense, putting it on his head basically, and being able to light a fire under some of these guys' asses. Okay, way more effort out there on the floor. I just feel like that is something that visually for me, I see a difference in.
Yeah.
And not only that, but what?
It's just human nature, right? I mean, I think that's just really what it is. Like, especially as I go on, like as the season's gone on more. I remember we used to stick up for Boeheim. He deserves to this. He deserves to that. And there's a lot of people that said, he's running this program into the ground. He's this. He's that. And it's not like just a slight toward him, but I think that he did affect recruiting a little while and everything. But also, it's just like at your job, right? If you get that promotion to be, some type of manager or some type of, something, right? You're going to be excited in the beginning. You're going to want to prove your worth. You're going to want to climb that ladder, get to, your top tier of that position. And after 40 years, and you've made it to where you're going to be, you're doing the same thing. I think that passion just eventually kind of goes away. You don't put in as much effort. You don't have as much effort to prove. You've already proven yourself. And I believe that these bench coaches in Autry, I think that they were doing a lot more of the coaching and practice and stuff like that than we ever really thought at the end of Boeheim's
Well, they were there, so do they hold some accountability for the things that have happened in the past couple of years? I mean, maybe you can make an argument there, but I'll say this too. The past few years we've looked and we've said, okay, this is how Syracuse started the season. We see the issues. We see the things that need to be fixed. Now, granted, the team is still an inconsistent team. Okay, we're dealing with that. Right? I mean, who knows what happens in Louisville? Louisville's a scrub team. Okay, we're going to go to Louisville. I expect a good game because that's
they lose to get home.
I know. So I'm just saying that it's been the tale of the season for us. But with that said, you can't tell me like the past few games that this team is not better than they were when we were at the Maui Invitational. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We haven't seen a team. We haven't seen with less players and people playing out of position, and we haven't seen that progression. I don't think in a couple of years. Like the teams that we've had the past few years have been what they were. A little up and down like they are now, but all in all, at the end of the year, not a whole lot of difference. Like we're seeing. I mean, Quadir Copeland has grown a ton. You mentioned Malik Brown earlier, grown a ton. Just Judah Mintz, grown a ton. I think can look at this team as a whole and say, you know what, they've definitely gotten better this year. Whereas the past few years, we just haven't been able to say that. And I think that to this last tweet, and fan feedback is kudos to Autry for what he's done this first year. I don't think he gets enough credit sometimes when we talk about this because you've still got people in the comments still complaining about, almost blowing a lead again. You know what I'm saying?
Defensive lapses.
Yeah. And I tweeted about a defensive lapse. It was apparent the timeout was called. They came back. It was like the first half team. And they came back and they pulled away and everything was fine. Right? We didn't have to sit through a nail biter or anything, but it got damn close.
Jesse on Facebook.
Yeah, go ahead.
He tweeted
well, you don't tweet on Facebook.
Yeah, you don't tweet. See, I'm not good at this. No, he put a picture up on Facebook, and it was a picture of a bet. I guess he bet Kentucky money line, the Syracuse money line, and Chris Bell over 7.5 points. And so he lost his bet, and his comment was, could Chris Bell really not score one more point? Where's the consistency? And then he said, good win, though. Could be the best backcourt in the country.
I mean, I don't know about the country, but it's good. Could be one of the best ones in the ACC. Virginia Tech's backcourt's impressive. They just were held in check yesterday. You mentioned that earlier. I mean, defensively, Syracuse really held those guys in check, and they're pretty crafty. That's why.
If you extend that to the top three guards in the country, because there's a lot of teams that play, guards are a little bit bigger now, and a lot of teams play three guards.
Yeah, and they do.
And when they got that lineup of JJ and Judah with Quadir and Malik, and then if Chris is hitting, that is not a lineup that you want to see most nights.
Yeah, I would agree.
As far as an opponent, I want to see it.
But we understand what you're saying, Joe. You don't have to explain it.
I'm sorry. Sometimes I explain some stuff to you.
No, Joe, no. I don't know, guys. I don't know. FB Orangeman. 20-win season on the horizon. Is this the same? No, it's not the same comment. 20-win season on the horizon in Red's first year at the helm, led nearly the entire game. Another big win since Benny's departure. I mean, that's a good point. Joe, you just mentioned it. We're short on guys, and we're still winning games, and we're winning games that matter. I think the Virginia Tech game mattered. I think you lose that game, you really start to talk about, well, they're going to have to really show up in the ACC tournament to even have a snowball's chance in hell. And now here we are with a chance for a road win. I mean, I think this Louisville game's a must win, and they got to show up against Clemson, and then we got to see where we get seated. I think I saw today, if we get seated right now in the ACC tournament, we're going to play. We did move up to 6th in the ACC. I think we would play Virginia, and we all know what happened against Virginia the first time we played them. But Virginia, I don't know if Virginia's has gotten much better. You talk about teams getting better. I don't know if Virginia's a team that you can sit here and give an honest opinion and say they've gotten better.
I'd like to get another shot at Virginia with the way that we're playing now.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's for sure, because I don't even know if they've gotten any better.
I'd rather see Virginia than Wake Forest.
Oh well, hell yeah. I mean, that goes without saying, right? I mean, Wake Forest on a tear, beating Duke and knocking over poor Kyle Tripopowski.
Although Wake Forest lost last night to Notre Dame.
And Notre Dame's a scrub team. Yeah.
And Clemson beat Pittsburgh and Florida State beat NC State. So, wow.
Yeah, well, we needed Florida State and NC State to lose. So
Florida State beat NC State.
I'm sorry. Well, we needed NC State to lose regardless, but 10-8, Syracuse sitting in the ACC, and with Pitt a game behind, but the tiebreaker goes to Syracuse, and the rest in front of us, they're all tournament teams, in my opinion.
Yep.
Wake Forest, Clemson, Virginia, Duke, and Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So, big win last night, and they can't lose against a Louisville who's 13-3 in the conference right now. So.
Yeah. Duke's got Louisville at home tonight, so
okay,
that's going to be fun. Does
Kyle Filipowski play? Because there's speculation. Well, he might not play. He's injured.
I don't know.
He might not.
I think
they might make a show out of it. Huh?
I think it's a home. It's a home game, and there's no risk of the court storming, so I think he's going to play.
Okay. Well, he might not play because it's Louisville, and maybe they want they want the optics.
No. Either way, I think Louisville's kind of in for it, which I don't know what that says for us. Hopefully, they get a good game.
You got to imagine.
I don't want to go play them this week on Saturday after they get their ass kicked by Duke by 30 points. So,
well, guess what? It's probably what's going to happen. So
Brian from Facebook.
From Facebook.
Brown leading the ACC and steals is a very undertold story.
Yeah, they mentioned it last night in the broadcast. I mean, we've talked about it here a little bit, quite a bit.
I don't think he would have led the ACC in steals. I figured, like I said, if they had, if they had a stat for knocking the ball out of someone's hands, then I think that he'd lead the nation. But I didn't know that he was leading the ACC in steals.
I mean,
isn't that usually something a guard?
Guard, yeah. 2.2.
I mean, that's pretty good.
I know.
Probably has.
It's really good. Probably has what? I mean, he pokes probably 10 away a game.
That's what I'm saying. It's crazy.
So 20%-ish.
Let's do these top fans.
Oh, top fans.
I'm going to use little top fans, plural. And I'm just going to kind of couple it all together because it's David DeLello and Michael DeLello, and I hope that they are related. Otherwise, I wouldn't have.
One would think.
But David says Mintz was a team player tonight. The entire team did well. And he was a team player, and he had 29. And Michael says it's still possible to finish third in the ACC and keep not predicting scores.
Who said that?
Michael DeLello.
That is a request per our boy Mr. Super Dave. And since he said that, we've made it a point. I will point out this though, that Gio didn't give a score, but he did say Cuse by 11, and he was damn close.
Yeah, he was. He was. Well, I mean, hey, that's why he's got the job that he's got, right? And he does a damn good job because he's watched that team, and he gave a damn good preview and very accurate.
Yeah.
There's a couple times during that game where I was like, oh, yeah. Okay. All right, Gio.
I mean, like I said, man, it's been tough to get all these my eyeballs on all these games this year, and I wish I had a Gio for every ACC team.
You're not lying. And he was more confident that Syracuse was going to win this game than we were.
I think you're right. I was a little worried. I mean, that's a team that worries me because you got the 3-point shooters on that team, and we've seen what Couture's done to us in the past. And, I mean, the defense was just phenomenal. Other than about 5 minutes in the second half, it was great.
Yeah.
5 minutes game time in the second half. It was great.
And he's not going to be just a homer. He's told us in the past that he thought that Virginia Tech was going to win a matchup, so.
Yeah.
Kudos on him.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get Nadal on. Nadal, mute or forever hold yourself, buddy. Unmute.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Chilling. Just got back from Houston. Enjoying sunny Rochester.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is it really sunny there?
It was like 60 degrees today.
Yeah, I know. It's been warm there. It was like it was beautiful here today too, but yesterday I think Syracuse was warmer than Virginia Beach because I had about 5 or 6 people text me that it was. So
yeah, but I guess I could say that it was going to be like 60 and then it was going to be some type of snowstorm overnight or something.
Well, snow doesn't usually happen in the 60s.
No, I understand that, Sean. Oh, my Lord.
I love you, Joe. Nadal.
Yeah, so I was looking into this this whole net system.
All right.
I'd like to say I'm pretty decent at analyzing data, and I went back into their website, and so apparently they designed the net system based on the 2017-2018 season, and then they used like a machine learning model to use the data to predict the outcome of games. So I don't know if a lot of people on here know what machine learning is. Basically, you give an artificial intelligence access to a bunch of data, and you ask it to spit out a result based on that data. So sometimes, we've used it in imaging where you can, give a computer a picture and ask it, can you detect cancer in this picture? And it'll develop its own algorithm to try to determine if it can or not. So they did the same thing, except with basketball statistics. And it looks like they, based it on 2 different things. One is team value index, which is rewarding teams for beating quality opponents, and then a net adjusted efficiency rating. And I think that's where Syracuse is lacking the most. Looks like net efficiency is net points per 100 possessions. So that means, per 100 possessions, what is the difference between how much you score and how much people score on you? And that's the number one thing that Syracuse is lacking. I think I had all this data up. They're actually they're in the 160s for score and margin. So that means that they've scored just as much as they've been scored on. Total points 2,220, and then they've been scored on 2,171. So their scoring margin is only 1, putting them 185 rank. So considering that's one of the 2 things that's used to determine the net ranking, this is what's screwing us over here. I did some of my own math, and it looks like in our 10 losses, we've been scored on with a net differential of 188. So 188 more points than we scored. Divide that by 10, so that's negative 18 points per loss. And then we've only won games on an average by 10 points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we squeaked out a couple of them against bad teams at that.
Yeah, so...
Yeah. In the beginning, we got killed by every team we played, or lost to, I'd say.
Yeah. Well, I would like to first, before I forget, I might as well just say it now. Thank you to Nadal for doing the research that we refused to do and just decided to bitch about it instead. If we did as much research as we did bitching, we might have figured something out. But I promise you, I wouldn't have came up with that. Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't have came up with that. Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. I mean, that explains a little bit, but I mean, it's very similar to how I remember it when it was explained, before it was actually implemented, when it came out, whatever year that was. Which is, I guess Nadal, what I'm trying to say is that sounds legit. But
I mean, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, no one really knows.
Exactly. Is that really what it is?
Well, that's the thing with machine learning. The computer is saying, so if it uses different games to predict results. So let's say Houston was playing UConn in a game. So it would the computer would manipulate the data in order to accurately predict, using the data, that Houston actually beat UConn. That's just an example. I don't know if that game has ever happened. So multiply this by however many games have been played since 2017, 2018, where they've been adjusting their numbers. We don't know how much weight they give any specific variable. And I don't think that's going to be something that can really be, it's probably a weird number, like 3.78 for this, 2.76 for this. And that's just based on the machine learning aspect of it. And I mean, extrapolating that out, like there's this college called McNeese, and they're actually number 1 in score and margin. McNeese College. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this place.
Well, McNeese State?
I don't know. McNeese College. But anyway, they're number 1 in scoring margin. And if you look at their net is 55. They haven't played a single quad 1 game. Their quad 2s, they're 3-2. Their quad 3s, they're 3-0. And quad 4s, they're 15-1. So playing 0 quad 1 games, their net score is 1, based purely, I think, on their scoring margin, which is where we're the most deficient in. And it's those games where we lost by 30 by UNC. And because UNC is a good team, you figure that gets more weight.
Yeah, see, that's shady. I mean, you played 16 quad 4 games and you're 55 in the net.
It's because that's because they're 21-3.
But so no quad 1 games, 0. 10-0 at home against garbage.
Yeah. And again, you could read that's great information, and you go in and you actually figure out why something is the way that it is. But at the same time, that also tells me that this shouldn't be the only metric that they go off of, and they should probably. It's skewed data because that still doesn't put it. There's so many different things that go into how good a team is, and I just don't think that this is 100% like the best one. I mean, like I said before, I think if you look at quad 1s, you look at quad 4s, I think that you do something like that. I think that based upon this, you could get an okay kind of grasp of how many quality games a team played versus how many trash teams a team played. But this can't just be the only thing. I mean, there's got to be other things too. I think maybe since this net came out, we just talked about it like it's weighted so much. But there's got to be something that goes to that. I'm not hearing anything really about strength schedule. And there's some people out there that say
there is no obviously, Joe, there is no strength of schedule factor into this. That was the point we were making earlier.
And my whole thing too with this is like I mean, there's some people that come from a point of a wins and a loss. Doesn't really it shouldn't matter how much you win or lose by, you know. I mean, it's still only a win or a loss.
Well, that's when.
Yeah,
I mean, that is going to destroy our old saying of I'd rather have a ugly loss than a pretty win, right? Or wait, what the hell is it? Did I just say?
I don't know.
I said it backwards, didn't I? But rather have an ugly win than a pretty loss. But now when we win against Louisville by 2 at home, that's actually not great.
Well, and it also explains the Big 12 phenomenon too, because now you're playing 8-9 quad fours. So now what are you doing? You're setting yourself up to play 8 or 9, 10 non-conference games where you're beating these teams by 30, 40 points.
Right.
Now they're not losing, and now they're killing teams, and they're going. And it doesn't matter what team it is, according to this, right?
Yeah.
If you win and you kick their ass, you're moving up.
Yeah, you're gonna move up. Yeah. McNeese didn't move anywhere after their last game, but who knows? Maybe they lost. They probably lost by 1.
Probably.
Who knows? All right, Nadal, we appreciate you, brother. Thanks for doing that.
Problem.
I was waiting for you. I was not going to promise the Cuse Militia faithful listeners, but he did tip me off that he was going to try to get on and do that for us tonight. So I appreciate it, buddy.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
All right. Yep. Take care, man.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah. Good stuff right there. Now.
Yeah. That explains a lot, though, right?
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense as to why the numbers are what they look when you go into the net.
It does, and then maybe when you are a McNeese, okay, and you do lose a game by 1 or 3, it's not going to move you that hard.
No, and let's not get it twisted. They're not. They're in the Southland Conference.
I understand.
The games they're playing in quad 4, which is why they have so many. And honestly, they're not making a tournament unless they win their conference anyway.
I understand, but we're talking about the net, and in the net they're 55. They're ahead of us. So
that means they can beat us.
Yeah, right. And so can St. Well, I mean, maybe they can. Maybe the St. Mary's team can.
St. Mary's is actually all right.
Of California?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're the St. Mary's in Gonzaga's league. They made the tournament. They make tournaments. They've been pretty good here recently.
Okay. All right. Well, fair enough. That wasn't where what's his homeboy was, right? That Judas slapped, was it?
No,
that was St. Peter's.
That was St. Peter's. That was something completely different. Yeah.
Where'd he transfer to? He transferred to somewhere.
Who?
Where was it? That dude, man. I forget his name now. These guys are forgettable.
It was Zell. He smacked him when he was at Bryant.
Oh, Bryant. Well, there you go. I answered my question. Okay. Let's do another one here.
Gotta explain everything to you.
Oh, Level Up Luke can speak now, but I don't know what happened. Maybe he forewent. Maybe we took too long for Luke. Okay, Joe.
I don't know.
I don't. What? You don't know what?
I'm having a problem connecting.
To what?
Oh, there you go.
To Facebook, because I cannot get on Facebook. Oh, hold on. Here we go. He's back.
Yeah. Something happened with Twitter.
Luke. Unmute. Forever hold yourself. Go ahead.
Hey, what's up, boys?
What's going on, buddy?
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
No, I saw you had Nadal on here, and I was going to chime in about the whole – he was talking about machine learning, and I didn't realize that was part of this net ranking.
Hold on, Luke. Hold on, Luke. I'm just got to say this. I am so thankful. We're so blessed, thank God, for all the nerds that we have that listen to us faithfully. We appreciate you, because I don't even know what machine learning is still, and he already explained it to me. So
it's AI, dude.
I have no idea.
Yeah, man. It's the robots. That's AI. So what we call AI is divided up into machine learning, predictive learning, and some other categories. And so where you see like the AI art, that's predictive. It uses like a machine learning model and then predicts other outcomes. And Nadal knows more about this than me, but I see he's an oncologist, and he was talking about how machine learning can it'll learn the shapes of what cancer cells look like. And then you'll feed it a batch of healthy cells and cancer cells, and we'll pick out the cancer cells from that image. So basically what they're doing is they're telling the algorithm, hey, this is what a good basketball team looks like, and then they feed it images of all 400 whatever basketball teams, and it says, all right, which ones are good based on this information set. And that sucks, dude, because I'm looking at these teams that are ahead of us, and these are garbage teams that we would blow out of the gym by 50 points if we played them. But because they don't play anybody, like you guys said, they're ranking them 50 and 60 in the net with 18 quad 4 games. That's pretty ridiculous. But that's the problem with AI, right? That's why people are pretty pissed off that some of these Hollywood companies are using AI to write TV scripts, and then you watch the show and it doesn't make any sense. This Madam Web movie that came out, it's like the script was likely written partially by AI because it was during the writer's strike, and it just bombed at the box office, and people were saying the movie made no sense.
Well, that makes sense, and that's something.
There's got to be a human element, right? Like there's got to be.
Yeah. That's a great point, dude.
There's got to be some common sense.
Exactly, and in how this was kind of explained to us is that there is some common sense. If you can manipulate it by tweaking your schedule in a certain way and being able to, vindictively, honestly, just go ahead. Well, I mean, I don't want to say that, not vindictively, but to be able to schedule these Cush teams to blow them out and set yourself up for success later on, then the process isn't, and procedures aren't working. It's not working. And if they're not going to base a lot of what they decide, who gets in and who doesn't, off of this, then what is the point anyway? Like Joe mentioned, McNeese, right? I mean, they're 55th in the net. Like, according to this, like, it sounds like they should be in. What good is this thing if it can be manipulated to the point where you have a McNeese at 55 and you have a Syracuse at 82?
Don't worry, because right behind McNeese is San Francisco. So I'm just, it's one of those things where, like, again, there's got to be a human element. I have
totally agree, Luke.
At work about this, right? But like, technology is great, but you got to vet it out and you got to make sure that it works before you just throw it in there. Otherwise, there's going to be messes. I mean, how lazy are we? AI doesn't have eyeballs.
Yeah, let me throw this out here too, though, because I mean, credit where it's due. Nadal was kind of talking about this. We shouldn't be losing multiple games by 40 either.
Oh well.
I mean, yeah, but 36.
Does a good team, does a NCAA tournament team lose games by 40? I don't know, man. I don't know.
No, but we came back though, Luke, and we just to play devil's advocate here. We came back and beat that team.
Yeah, hey, that's absolutely right. And the committee, the human element would look at this and say that's a storyline. This is a young team that's developed and gotten better.
True.
Maybe we got a negative influence out of the locker room. Who knows? But the team seems more cohesive. This does not look like the same team that we were watching 2 months ago. I mean,
but that's humans make those type of decisions.
Right. That's what he's saying, though.
Yeah, I know. I know.
But
I'm agreeing.
They're in to your point, and I agree. But to that point, there is also a fine line that needs to be walked between some kind of algorithm or formula or whatever we're talking about here and human element, because human element is corrupt. It's more corrupt than a computer model. So
yeah, but a computer model is also,
it doesn't know reality. It's just your input.
But at the end of the day,
input junk in, you get junk out, like McNeese.
Yes.
Put junk in, get junk out. Right.
Right.
So there does have to be a human element to it, but that human element can be manipulated just as bad as McNeese getting put into whatever program it gets put into to be spit out 55th in the net.
Yeah.
Well, so you guys know, I'm an Alabama fan, so that's how I know what NEC is, because they played that.
We're gonna do this again.
They played against us. I know you boomers don't watch a lot of college football.
I'm not a boomer, bro. I'm Gen X.
But no, it's cool, dude. But I watch Alabama basketball too, and I'm watching those games, and they're like, all right, Alabama's a top 15 team. They're a lock for the tournament. I'm looking at Syracuse has the same record, or pretty similar, like within a few games. It's just kind of crazy that I'm watching their broadcast and they're talking, oh, hey, Syracuse is looking really good. They just had these quality wins. They should be a tournament team. And then we look at the net rankings. It's crazy. Like, commentators are talking about this on other broadcasts in other leagues.
That's crazy.
Syracuse is doing well right now.
Well, go back to the Twitter feed. I mentioned it before everybody was hopping in the spaces, but there's a tweet by the X Spaces Captain Dave, where he points out, about what the hell was it, Dave? Was it Villanova? Let's see. That beat Georgetown and moved up 3, and Georgetown is Villanova moves up 4 spots from 38 to 34th after beating 205 Georgetown, and we move up 3 spots from 85th to 82nd after beating 60th Virginia Tech. So
I think there's got to be a bigger conversation of what actually goes into it, though, because you know what? I mean, I can see a world where the net rankings can help. Like I said, I think that they could help kind of identify, just strength of schedule, good wins, things like that, right?
Yeah. I mean, do they still use RPI? I'm sure they do. Isn't that really mostly what the strength of schedule is?
Yeah, but then my whole thing is then why do we talk so much about net?
It's because we're forced to, because it's all that's what people are using.
Not saying, but that's my big question. I'm talking about us. I know why we talk about it. I'm saying, why does everyone else talk about it like it's the biggest metric?
Because it seems to be. I mean, if
they were talking about strength of schedule or RPI being like a big metrics, then they would be talking about Syracuse being a bubble team.
You're right. I mean, I still think that Syracuse is a legit bubble team right now.
I think so too. My eyeballs tell me that, but Ken Pom in the net, these machine-based rankings, right?
Well, let me ask you guys. So let's say we win out, we get another 2-3 wins here. Well, I mean, who we got?
Clemson and Louisville.
This is the biggest.
Well, if we got Louisville and Clemson ahead of us, if you're talking win out.
And then ACC tournament, who would we be looking to play in the first round?
Right now, we'd be looking to play Virginia, UVA.
No, we'd be looking at playing. I think the winner of Boston College, and I mean we got to play a winner. I think it was the winner of Boston College, Georgia Tech. I think right now.
Oh, that's right. We did one bye, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
Okay. I mean, hey, I would also love to play Virginia again. I think that would be hopefully more entertaining game.
We talked about that a little bit. Yeah. I think that Syracuse would do a whole lot better against Virginia now than they did, and I don't think that's I'm not going out on a limb when I say that, but an 84-62 loss at Virginia in December after LSU. I mean, it's not even comparable to where we are now.
And yeah, you can argue that our team's grown more and gotten. I mean, we've grown more than Virginia has. Virginia's still a good team, but I don't think that they're really that.
I don't know if they've improved that much.
Right, that's what I mean. Yeah. I don't think they've improved as much as we have. So
we went over that. Luke, thank you for your input, buddy. I appreciate it. Don't be a stranger. All right.
Thanks, Luke.
Appreciate it, boys.
Yeah, buddy. Okay, Joe. Well, quickly. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Give us the Louisville. We're not going to pick the winner or loser or predict a score because I'm not a superstitious guy, but David's got me feeling some kind of way. So I ain't doing it. And then who else? Michael has got me feeling some kind of way. So I'm not doing it. But the all-time series is 19 and 13 in favor of Syracuse. Last year, win. We're on a 3-game win streak actually right now. The last game, 77-65. Mintz, Starling, Brown, Bell, Taylor. Your starting 5. Bell with 30 points in that game. Joe, what is going to be the difference, do you think, from this contest and the last contest, which was, a 2-point win at home in the 90s, by the way, 94-92, right before the loss at Clemson. So since we played Louisville, we've only lost to Clemson and Georgia Tech. And I mean, I'm not happy about the Georgia Tech one, but the Clemson one was at least competitive for a little bit. So, as far as Louisville goes too, I mean, they're not exactly lighting it up since they've played Syracuse. So they beat Georgia Tech, ironically enough, but they are like, they've won 2 games. They beat Georgia Tech and they beat Florida State. And Florida State was in February. You have to go all the way back to January 10th, their last win against Miami. So, I mean, not a good team. And they play Duke tonight, like you mentioned, at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, they play Duke tonight. So this one's going to be tough. I think realistically the first game, it was the first game without Benny Williams. So there was a lot of, I think emotions, mixed feelings, things going on. And we went to the line 33 times. We scored 94 points, only had 10 turnovers. So we had 20 assists. So we eventually, we played a pretty good game, 10 to 22 from the 3-point line. I guess my whole thing is it's defense and rebounding. I mean, they out-rebounded us 40 to 21 the first time, and they had 14 offensive rebounds. Huntley Hatfield killed it, and
I got one from David after this.
Yeah. So, but again, realistically, my thing is if you're a tournament team, if you've gotten over injuries and players being dismissed, and you're getting better as a team, which we've seen, then you go in and you play defense and you just win this game. I don't think Louisville really plays that good a defense. Like I said, we scored 94 points the first time. So you got to get a little bit better there with the rebounding, and you got to get better with the defense. It's really, really it. Everything else that we did the first time we played them, even with Benny leaving and being dismissed and the emotions and everything, and we've seen us grow from that as well. So I'm not going to come out and just guarantee a win because nothing's guaranteed. But, if you want to be a tournament team and you have any type of pride whatsoever, you're going to look back at this first game and you're going to go on the road and you're going to show them how much you've improved since then.
Yeah, I think that's a good point about Benny. And, I think this team is better than they were even then. And I think Syracuse has more to play for, obviously. And that's not to look past what Louisville can do. But because it's a home game, it makes me nervous. And because Syracuse has been playing down a competition all year, that also makes me nervous. Real quick, just a couple things here. We're not going to pick, but I do have some stats for you per our boy. What is going on? Sometimes I don't like how this works. Where the hell is it? Hold on. I've got to find this now.
Is it Nadal?
No. It's David. It says, wow, Nadal with the analysis. How about the Cuse Militia Net? I like that, right? With Nadal. Definitely. We got that guy, and we got Luke. We got 2 of the smartest guys on Twitter listening to this show. What's that tell you, Joe? What's that tell you? You guys have picked 10 games. Both guys are 8-2, picking the winner. Based on score predictions and margin of victory, Sean is off by 11.4 points per game. Joe is off by 11.3 points per game. It's a nail biter coming down the stretch. So we're gonna have to pick something at some point, bro. Someone's gonna have to separate themselves if we're talking tenths of a point here. So get ready for that. And I will say, Cuse Waterboy giving Nadal his prop, or giving Luke his props, and it's the Cuse Militia does soccer with Joe and Luke. That's it. That's the podcast.
You gotta be on that. You obviously you have to
I'll
learn.
produce it, but I mean, I'll listen and learn, bro.
You're the one that's got a daughter in soccer. You need to learn the rules so you can start enjoying.
Exactly what I just said. I'll produce the show. I'll listen and learn. I'll have y'all have at it, and I'll just soak it in, dude. Just you guys be a knowledge of wealth for me, and we'll just expand our horizons. And maybe we can even get Ian McIntyre on. Who knows? Sky's the limit with that. I don't know anybody doing a soccer podcast. You do. Don't lie.
I think there's a reason why.
Well, I know it's doing a soccer podcast.
I'm not trying to be a dick here. I'm just saying. I'm sure there are. I'm sure there's plenty in England.
Yeah, but
I don't see any college soccer podcasts.
You're breaking Luke's heart right now.
I'm not doing it on purpose, and he knows this.
No.
Besides, he did call us boomers. So
he did too. That's right. That's right. He did.
And you are like 10 years older than me, so
I'm 4 years older than you, Joe. First of all. Second of all,
allegedly.
I'm Gen X, and I'm proud to be Gen X because Gen X was the generation, guys.
I don't even know what I am.
You're
Whenever
Gen
I
X,
look it
bro.
up, I'm like right in the middle where there is nothing.
I'm pretty sure you're Gen X. You might not be, actually.
I don't know. It's weird.
Well, you'd be Gen Y, which is dumb. That's so
stupid.
Sad.
I've never even heard of that. I'm not going to label myself anything.
Bro.
How about that? I'm not going to do that.
You don't get to choose.
What do you mean I don't get to choose? Yes, I do. I'm a free person who pays taxes.
Do you identify as Gen X? And you can do that. That's fine.
No.
Oh boy, this dude's got more stats. He's spitting them out like he's an AI machine. David, Syracuse Orange point total. Joe off by 9.5 points per game. Sean off by 8.3 points per game. Syracuse opponents point total. Joe off by 10.4 points per game, and Sean off by 11.9 points per game.
Wow. I think that just proves you're a bigger homer than me.
I'll take it. How
about that?
I mean, that's fine.
All right. Look, we love you all. Thank you so much
sir.
for listening to this mediocre show. Or some people just can't stand the show, by the way. I did get a message, Joe. I sent a screenshot.
No, did you?
Yeah, I did. I sent it to you.
And
my simple response would be, well, why do you listen?
I don't think you
if
sent
you
it
don't
to
like
me,
it, don't listen. No one
This is the
cares.
first time I'm hearing this.
No one cares. I sent it to you. Go back through again. Joe doesn't know how to text, nor respond to texts, nor understand texts that are sent.
Look, time out. First off, I don't live on my phone, so that's part of it. Okay? I refuse.
That's fine, bro. That's not what I'm talking about.
I'd rather have conversations, face to face, or.
I hate. Look, I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone for hours. I'm on the phone so much. I'm scared of putting it against my head all day, so I talk on speaker constantly, which has become the norm. Yeah. And so when you call me, and I'm on my dude, how many times you call me? I'm like, dude, I'm on a work call.
Yeah.
All the time, right? Okay. Yeah. I'm not bullshitting you. All right.
No, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
If you can't answer, you can't answer. At least you actually like text while I'm calling to let me know, like that. You don't just completely just let it go. You acknowledge the fact.
I do acknowledge it because
hey,
that's what I do all day at work anyway.
That's a respectful thing to do.
It is.
Right.
But you send Joe a text and he's got.
You might
never
not
mind.
get another text for a couple days.
This is not the time. It's not the time for this conversation. One day we'll talk about Joe and his texting habits, which are terrible. But today's not the time, Joe.
How did
we all
text
love you.
On a rotary phone. Lord.
All right, everybody. I love you guys. If you're still there, more power to you. I mean, I know it can be agonizing sometimes. We appreciate you. We will see you back here on Sunday. Sunday. Appreciate you. That should have been playing while I was saying that.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I forgot to hit that. I forgot to hit that one button.
Timing is impeccable.
I know. Timing is impeccable. You're right. Look, I got nothing. I deserve all of that. So, hey, but I will say this.
Go 21-10. Go be talking about it.
For Joe, Sean, we're out.
Peace.
Agonizing.